Hey, this is JD Frost. Welcome to the Daily Ledger podcast. I really appreciate you tuning in and listening. Please subscribe to this podcast and also write a review if you get a chance. I've got a very special guest with us today on the Daily Ledger podcast, Eszylfie Taylor. And Eszylfie works with pro athletes. He's worked with many business owners, helping people understand finances, understanding what to do with their money, understanding debt, understanding how to utilize that debt. And I'm really, really glad that Eszylfie's here on the podcast with us. We're hopefully going to be doing a little business with you here, Eszylfie, pretty soon, right?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule for being on here. And what I like to do at the very beginning of podcasts when I'm interviewing special guests like yourself is one of my first questions is to walk me through your journey in about 75 seconds or less.
75 seconds. I need about 75 minutes, but I'll do my best.
Yeah, do your best.
My story is a simple one. You know, I grew up Southern California. Even my name, Eszylfie, is a unique one. My father's from Ghana, West Africa. You know, my mom's from North Carolina. She's American. They met in Boston, moved to LA, and I grew up there. And so, you know, pretty average life, I'd say, you know, middle class. And I think, you know, as I was graduating, you know, college, I had some delusions of grandeur, right? I was like, I'm 22 years old. I'm going to be a millionaire by the time I'm 25, right? So 3 years is plenty of time to make that happen. And and the challenge is I didn't know how I was going to do it, what I would do. But, you know, as a business major and found my way into the world of financial services, and immediately I just took to it because I realized, you know, I was paid for my work ethic and aptitude, not my age or tenure. And I've now been in the industry over 22 years. Have parlayed that. I guess I'm a renaissance man of sorts, if you will. I own, you know, 8 companies and swinging away, right? I basically live by this mantra right now. I'm going to die with memories, not dreams, right? So I'm going to swing away.
And so that puts you about 45, 47?
I'm 44 years old.
44.
Yeah, 44 years old.
You know, I can't do math in my head, man. I know I'm a CPA, but I can't do math in my head. 44, I love that. And you said you have 8 companies. What industries are those companies in? Is it all financial services?
Some are related, right? So I've got my financial services firm, you know, where I'm, working with retail clients, athletes, entertainers, business owners, professionals. I've got a coaching company also in finance where I train financial advisors called the Taylor Method. So think of me, I'm like the Tony Robbins of financial advisors. I travel the world and coach and share best practices. And I've got my own brokerage general agency as well for insurance and fixed investments that I serve the industry. And those are the ones really in financial services. And maybe midway through my career, I realized that a true business runs in spite of you, not because of you. And so the other businesses that I've parlayed and gotten into over the years don't require, you know, my time, right? So from, you know, restaurants to, you know, to social clubs. I launched an ice cream company last year, right? I have all these different things. But again, those things are more investments for me that I'm not, you know, not involved in the day-to-day on those.
When you're looking at those type of investments, what are you really looking for in that type of relationship?
Yeah, I mean, typically,
I assume you have partners with those companies.
Yeah, when I'm evaluating an opportunity, I mean, number one, I don't care how good something looks. I always hope for the best and plan for the worst, right? So especially if you're opening a new company, you know, good majority of companies don't make it, right? So you never invest to do something like that you can't afford to lose, right? And then you look at the team and the direction, right? I am.
So you only invest. I heard you say. Sorry to interrupt you there, Eszylfie, but you only invest what you can afford to lose. How do you know what you can afford to lose? How does somebody figure that out?
Yeah, I think, you know, being an advisor myself, right? I drink my own Kool-Aid, you know, and so I've got a pretty well balanced portfolio, and I've got these different buckets, you know, of your short-term, moderate, and long-term plays. And what I mean by that is, if I invest in a restaurant or I invest in this ice cream company and it goes south, right? Do I need to sell my house? Do I need to pull my kids out of school, right? Do I need to go get another job? And And those are the things I'm talking about. Like, all right, I'm not going to cross that line. Now, again, I certainly don't want to, funny. I'm in Vegas for meetings now. I'm not going to put it all on the roulette table and hope for black 25, right, or whatever.
Right.
But you go into it open for the best, planning for the worst. People oftentimes, I think, make decisions on best case scenario. Hey, if this goes well, you can make millions of dollars and that'd be great. But what if it doesn't go well? Can you also stomach that outcome? Mm-hmm. And if you can stomach that outcome, then again, right, and you feel comfortable with it, you have the means, then swing away.
What about your main business? You're with the Taylor Method and the financial services business. Would you go all in, or would you say that you've gone all in on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I've been an advisor for a long time. I think by my estimation, I've done something like 30,000 client meetings in my career. And so, anyone that knows me will tell you I don't do anything a little bit, right? I swing away. I think I've gotten that business to a point where, I could build a financial plan for someone in an hour, right? Like, I've just been doing it for so long that the nuances of what it takes to meet someone, ask questions, ascertain the best course of action I could do relatively quickly. The part of it that's cumbersome, the part of it that requires a lot of attention, I outsource, right? So I've got a VP of sales, I've got someone in processing, I've got someone in customer service, I've got someone in operations. So all the paperwork and accounting and the reviewing and all the stuff that's necessary for those businesses to be done, the question begs, does it have to be done by me? And the answer is no, right? Like, I want to focus on my highest and best use. If you think about your relationship with your doctor, right? When's the last time your doctor ever scheduled your appointment or took your blood pressure, right? Or took your blood, right? Never. They go in, right? All the receptionist is booking the appointment. The nurse is weighing you and doing the vitals. The doctor's coming in, giving the diagnosis, and they're out, right? And I've gotten my practice to a place like that as well, right? Even though I run a pretty crazy schedule, I'm running, 6, 7 meetings a day, 8 meetings a day sometimes. I'm a pretty well-oiled machine and really efficient. And I spend my time, my highest and best use, as I say, is to shake hands, kiss babies, and close deals. Right. I spend all my time doing that.
Yeah. And then once you've closed that deal, are you still continuing with the relationship after that, or is that going to your team? I think that's one thing that I've struggled with over the last few years is, getting out of the one-on-one relationship with clients and continuing to train our team, help our team be able to service those clients. But, I don't really have the relationship with as many clients near as what I used to. Is that something that's happened for yourself?
Yeah, I think, at the beginning of my career, when I'd meet clients and they'd go, yeah, I'd work with you. My financial advisor doesn't call me back, or he doesn't, connect with me. And I would go, wait, someone's managing your money, they don't call you back. I mean, that concept was so foreign to me. Mm-hmm. And as, 22 years later and, 3,000 clients later, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. I see how that could happen. And I make a concerted effort to clear every email, right? Every day, answer every message, answer every voicemail. And even for me, it's challenging. And so, that's actually one of the things that I've recently done is I've created a new subset of my firm called Precision Planning Group, whereby we want to segment our clientele, segment our book of business. Some business is transactional. Hey, I need to open an IRA, or hey, I need to buy a long-term care policy that doesn't require a ton of service or a ton of hand holding. And then you've got the client that, hey, I own 5 companies and I have a dozen pieces of property and a second marriage and blended family, and okay, there's moving parts there. And so I created this subset of my firm to give those clients that need additional resources and attention, but you're going to pay for it, right? There's financial planning fees involved there, and because I'm spending time and providing those resources, but you're going to get a dedicated concierge person, dedicated care planner, right? And a financial planning team managing your work. So for me, I always say I want to meet the client where they're at, right? Someone needs that level of service that I want to have my company and deliverables, set forth that I can honor that. And someone says, look, man, I want to make an IRA contribution and keep it moving. All right. We can handle that too.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's especially in the professional services like both you and I are in, it's super important to be able to match up what the client needs with what you can actually provide. And it's real easy. I don't know about you, but for me, it's real easy to slip into thinking that oh, I can provide all of them, whatever you need, I can do it. Right.
Yep.
And that's really not scalable. It's really difficult, really difficult to scale that.
Yeah.
I understand you have 3 daughters. I've got 3 daughters of my own.
Hey.
Lainey's 15, Sally's 13, and Molly is 10. What ages are your daughters? And tell me a little bit about them.
We're right in the same. My oldest is 15, and then I have twin daughters that just turned 13 Sunday, actually. So
wow, congratulations.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
we're right there. So you may very well echo this sentiment. This is probably one of the more challenging periods of parenting. I think when they're little, it's more emotionally exhausting or physically exhausting rather, and then as they hit the teenage years, it shifts to emotional warfare.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm in the middle of that. Great girls. My oldest daughter Naya, she's a big personality, dancer, entertainer. My twin Shay and Zoe, those are my athletes. Shay is a junior Olympic level gymnast, big, just great athlete, and her sister Zoe is a volleyball player and basketball player. And so, I got three blessings, and certainly not easy, but I feel very grateful to be able to be their father and navigate this time. Someone put it to me in reference of summers, right? And I look at it like, I've got 3 more summers with my oldest daughter.
Yeah.
I've got 5 more summers with my twins before they're off, to college and doing their own thing. So just trying to enjoy these times and impart as much wisdom and care and love as I can during this time, and then hope for the best.
Yeah. It's interesting that you talk about the summers. My wife and I were discussing that this past year as we were getting ready to go on our family vacation. We only have 3 more of these with Lainey, our oldest, and gaining that perspective is pretty critical, I feel like. And in any situation, getting that perspective is really important. That's awesome. If you were to have your daughter say something about you in 30 years, 40 years, what would you want them to say? How would you want them to describe you?
I think one of the things that I've come to realize here in the last several months is that we're all flawed. We're all broken, right? And in large part because of our parents, right? Mm-hmm. And I think we have grace for our parents because we realize, they probably did the best they could with what they had. And mm-hmm. That's what I would hope. Like, hey, my dad did the absolute best he could with what he had, right? Did I make all the right decisions? Did I get an A+ job, 100% job as a father? Probably not, but I'm doing the absolute best that I can, and trying to put the girls in a position where they're better than me, right? And I tell them they're better than me, and they're going to be better than me, and do more, and set the bar really high, and again hope for the best. But I think I've succeeded as a father if I can give them the tools necessary for them to achieve the things they want to achieve in their lives. Now, obviously, they have to do the work, right? But I'm just trying to set the table for them.
I love that. Awesome. So on the Daily Ledger podcast, we JD Frost today is my handle on Instagram, and the Daily Ledger podcast. Everything's by the day. So I'm a big daily routine kind of a person, and I'm always curious of what people's daily routines look like. So what does your daily routine look like on a regular basis?
Yeah, I'm starting every day moving my body, right? So I get up, I take yoga, I teach yoga, so I'm usually doing that. Wow. In the morning. I've been blessed this last year to be a brand ambassador and spokesmodel for Lululemon, representing yoga, and and that's a big part of what I do.
That's awesome.
So
Love
moving my
Lululemon.
body. Yeah, it's great brand. So I'm moving my body, there, and then I'm in the office. Pre-COVID, I was a machine, right? 10, 12, 14-hour days every day, unrelenting, no rest, no breaks. And it's moved a little bit, right? I might sleep in and not take the 7:30 class. I may take the 9 o'clock class. I might take class and then come home, make breakfast at home, and make calls at home, and then head into the office at 11, right? Whereas there would never have been a day that I wasn't in the office at least by 9, like ever,
Right.
right? Ever, right? Like there's no way in heck you're gonna find me riding bikes with my daughters in the afternoon on a weekday ever, right? Like that would have just never, I mean, blasphemy, right? Like I would have never done that. I could, and so that's the thing now that's different. Like I've got these daily revenue targets in my practice that I want to hit. And I've scheduled myself and dealing so that I can hit those and still have, or at least seek to have more balance.
So it sounds like your daily routine's been, since COVID, been kind of covered in grace a little bit more.
100%.
That's interesting. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I think, I think for me, it's like, look, for the most part, I own all these companies, so I could come and go as I please. But I feel like, I don't know. I just felt like, I felt guilty, right? I mean, I felt guilty. And I think that comes down to, and not so much that anyone else made me feel that way. I think it was just, it was self-imposed.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
And so now it's like, what am I doing this for?
Mm.
Right? Like, tomorrow's not promised, right? If I die tomorrow, what life did I live? What engagement did I have? Right? How did I affect people and that? And so, even I realized it in talking to, my daughters and oh, mom can stay home and mom takes us here, mom takes us there, and she's there. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm working and I'm paying for everything so she can do that. But I'm realizing like they don't care about the stuff, right? They don't care about the things, right? They care about the time, right? The presence and that, and so, as much as I, and this part again comes from my childhood. Hey, my mom didn't have the resources to do a lot of these things I'm doing for my daughters. My parents split up. I didn't spend much time with my dad. So I'm gonna be the biggest and do the most outlandish stuff. And at the end of the day, man, it's just about engagement and time and that's we can't get back, right? They say yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. That's why they call it the present. And so I'm trying to enjoy and be in this present.
Love that. Yeah, I kind of share the same thing with you. And until you said that about COVID, I was the same way. I mean, I was working out like 5 days a week, getting up at 5 I was working out at 5. I started at 5. And I mean, waking up at 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning. And then obviously that gets disrupted a little bit with COVID and everything. And I can share in that with you the grace that I've been giving myself a little bit more, which in turn has allowed me to show grace to a lot more people. And as we've grown and scaled as a company, obviously that's helped us quite a bit. It sure helped me. I actually allow myself to do yoga now. I never even did yoga before because I always felt like I had to go in there and like lift a bunch of weights and I'm not like a bodybuilder or anything like that, obviously, but like I always felt like I had to do something more, and I stretched once a week now and I do yoga once a week now. And that's crazy how much more powerful that's been, I think, really for my mind. I'm sure it's been good for my body, but the grace it's a powerful thing. It's really, really powerful. I appreciate you sharing that.
No, definitely. I think we've been good at, my career is great grace and also grace and balance, right?
Yeah. So, Eszylfie, we've been talking a lot about your career, your family, kind of daily routine. Want to get into a little bit of, what you're doing with some of these professional athletes, and specifically, kind of what are the biggest mistakes that you see your professional athletes making, the ones that you're working with? What's the biggest problem that they're trying to overcome, or the biggest mistake that they're doing?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges is that I always tell people, don't confuse someone being successful with being a good planner. Those are two different things, right? So like, this guy in the NBA made $50 million. How could he have blown it? Like, what does making $50 million have to do with understanding taxes and investment allocation and estate planning, like has nothing to do with that, right? Or
Right.
it doesn't have to be an athlete. I'd say a lot of business owners are guilty of the same things. I think the biggest challenge with athletes is it's televised, right? And it's visual. We could Google somebody's contracts, so we know exactly how much they made, and if they end up broke, we know exactly how much they lost. I think the business owner can hide under a cloak of mystery to some degree. No one necessarily sees that Joe Blow business owner who made $2 million a year and spent 2.5. Right? Nobody can see that. But I'd say in general, the athlete has a target on their back, right? And they are in the public eye, and you do make a lot of these guys will make, you know, a lifetime's worth of money in 3 years, in 5 years. And in a lot of ways, I then say the athlete, the entertainer has to be more disciplined than the business owner, right? The business owner can call me at 40 and go, you know what, Eszylfie, I've blown it. I've made millions of dollars, had fun, bought toys, you know, wasted it, but I want to get serious. The next 20, 25 years, I want to get right. I want to start giving you a couple $100,000 a year to right the ship. And they'll be okay. That 35-year-old athlete that goes, hey, Eszylfie, I played in the NBA for 12 years, blew all my money. Can you help me? No, right? Like, you know, we're done. And so I think that's one of the biggest challenges I think that the athlete has to be conscious of, is that they have to be more disciplined. I actually, you know, just had a meeting with a recently drafted player's father today. And I said, you got to try really, really hard, even if you're not getting one of those crazy contracts, even if you're making $3, $4, $5 million a year, you got to try really hard to go broke while you're playing, right? Like, because, you know, you're making money, right? I said that the term and the thing I want you to consider is something called sustainable withdrawal rate. How much of this money can I draw for the next 40 years, 50 years? And that, I think, is the mistake people make. Oh yeah,
What did you call that again? Sustainable what?
Sustainable withdrawal rate.
Gotcha.
How much of this money can I actually draw? What percentage of this money can I draw and not run out of money? Right.
And that would be for any business owner as well. Like when they have a big business deal is, you know, if I'm going to get a $10 million payout or $100 million payout or whatever it is, I like that.
Yep.
Sustainable is a very, very good word.
Yep. That is it. Right. That is it. And so what percentage of this money can you draw and not run out of it? And I think, you know, I like to start with the end in mind, right? That's that number and then back into that. Okay, well then how much money then do we need to have set aside and at what, you know, presumptive withdrawal rate to make that happen? And I think that's the biggest thing that, you know, not only again the athlete, but the average person has no idea how much money they need to have saved to retire comfortably. No idea. And that's a good part of what I do with clients.
So when you're helping that professional athlete, take me through the process of figuring out what that end result is. How do you help them arrive at that end result?
So again, you know, I say all the time, if you aim at nothing, you'll hit it with amazing accuracy, right? When do you want to retire? And by retirement, to me, that doesn't mean turning 65 or 67. To me, retirement is the point at which you remove the have-tos from the equation. You do things because you want to do them, not because you have to do them. So when do you want to get there? In 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? Not up to me, right up to you. Well, Eszylfie, I would like to have $250,000 a year in the next 20 years. Okay, right? So I just run the solves, right? Right? 250,000 times 20 is $5 million, right? So a 5% withdrawal rate on $5 million gives you $250,000 a year of income. So then the question begs, well, how then do we build this plan to get you to that $5 million as efficiently as possible, and then structure your plan to be able to provide that income to you in a manner that you can't outlive? And that's, you know, that's what I do. Now, does every client hit that every time? No, right? Because life throws us curveballs. But I always say, if you aim for the moon and fall short, you'll still hit the stars. So again, what are we going for? That's our target, and let's swing away. And maybe we do so well, maybe we accumulate more money than you need. Hey, that's a great problem to have, right? Maybe you come up a little short, right? But you know, but at least we were in the game.
And are these professional athletes, are you more like a manager for them, or are you just strictly on the finance side?
I don't do, you know, business management, right? So I might be a sounding board if they're looking at deals or evaluating businesses and things like that, just because of my experiences. But I don't get in the weeds of, paying bills and, doing tax returns and all that stuff. I
Right.
leave that to the business managers and accounting team. I'm really managing,
you leave that to us, right?
yeah, you got that covered. I'm coming in, I'm just doing the, insurance work, investment work, and again, I'm a part of a team, right? I'm a
Right.
part of a team. So by no means will I ever tell someone, hey, all you need is Eszylfie Taylor and Taylor Financial. No, you need a great accountant, you need a great lawyer, you need a great, business manager, you need all these things, and us working collectively together, right? Will give you, the best results.
Yeah, I think that's something our team is working hard on right now, is working with some professional athletes, creating a team that's going to be able to help them with those things that you don't want to do. And that's where we might be able to complement each other quite a bit.
Yep.
Just a couple more questions. I appreciate you being on here, Eszylfie. We've got Eszylfie Taylor on here, interviewing him on just his career, his life, what his daily routine looks like, and just got a couple more questions for you, Eszylfie, before we finish up here. This is one of the questions I ask just about everybody. What is something that people seem to misunderstand about you?
Yeah. So, this, and I would call it COVID era, has been a good amount of change and self-reflection and evaluation in my life. And it's one of those things. It's like, if you run into one person and they're an a-hole, maybe they're an a-hole. But if you run into 4 people and they're all a-holes, maybe you're the a-hole, right? So as I look at
well, we can stop right there. We're good. That's perfect.
And so as I look at things and I look at conflict, and I'm like, man, what is going on? Or why am I having conflict with people? Like, what's wrong with people? And certainly at some point you got to look at yourself and go, wait a minute, am I contributing to this? And I think the one thing that's most misunderstood about me, just from my vantage point, is that I see everything, I hear everything. I'm so sensitive, I'm so intuitive. But I don't lament an issue. For example, if you were to tell me, oh my God, Eszylfie, my business is falling apart. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna be able to support my family. Like, can you help me? I typically am not gonna sit down and cry with you and rub your shoulders and tell you that. I'm like, okay, let's go to work. What do we need to do to fix this or change this or make this better? And I roll up my sleeve and go to work. And I think in large part, it's my coping mechanism, because if I gave that much emotional, or show that much emotional vulnerability to all the things going on in my life, I'd probably have a heart attack, right? So I deal with things, I accept it, and then I move on. And I think that could be deemed as though I don't care, or as though maybe I'm callous. But on the contrary, like, I care so deeply. I care so deeply about everyone and taking care of everyone and making people feel good. I just go to work. And I think that'd be probably the biggest thing, is that people might deem like, oh, you're just moving, or it's just work, or you're just go. You're not sensitive. Like, no, I'm very sensitive to it. But again, I don't cry or give. There's this quick sheet that I'll share with all the listeners, right? You have to ask yourself questions, right? Do you have a problem? No, I don't have a problem. Great. Well, then there's nothing to worry about. That one's easy, right? Do you have a problem? Yes. Can you do something about it? Yes. Great. Then don't worry about it. Last one. Do you have a problem? Yes. Can you do something about it? No. Well, then don't worry about it. So ultimately, all paths lead to not worrying about it. So I don't lament. I don't stress. I don't about, if something gets to me, my brother, I mean, maybe a minute, I get that pit in my stomach, the butterfly, and then boom, I'm gone. Right? Because if I can do something about it, well, then I'm certainly not going to cry about it. I'm going to use all that energy to do something about it.
Right.
If I can't do something about it, then I'm not going to use my energy worrying about something I can't control. And so I think that's probably, that's how I'm wired, good or bad. That's how I'm wired.
I love that. Yeah. You and I have a lot in common in that, for sure. And how much that we really do care, but we're not going to care through, giving somebody a hug every now and again or whatever, or pumping them up. It's going to be through solving the problem or admitting that we can't and moving on. I really I like that. Thank you for sharing that. What's the most important lesson that you've learned in your career so far?
I'd say the biggest thing for me is I've learned to detach myself from outcomes and focus solely on process, right? Like, I don't control what you do. I don't control what the guy next to you does, or the lady next to him does. I only control me. I only control my efforts. One of the things I say a lot, and I tell this to my daughters a lot, is you cannot be upset about the results you didn't get from the work you didn't do.
Mm-hmm.
So have you done everything required of you to get what you want? Have I done everything required of me to get what I want? And if I could check the box, yes, then who are you mad at? Or what are you worried about? You did what was required of you. And so that's probably one of the biggest lessons and things that I try to remember on a daily basis, is to detach myself from outcomes, focus on process, and do the work.
I love that. Do you have a reality show of some kind coming out?
Yeah, I got a show coming out this fall. Super excited about. It's called Mind, Body, Money. Mind, Body, Money. You can look that up, mindbodymoney.com. We have a app also in the App Store, Mind, Body, Money as well. And my whole platform is speaking to the total person, right? So mindset. What does your mindset need to be successful? When people ask me how I'm doing, I say every day is the best day of my life, right? Just a big believer in power, positivity, and manifestation. Body, health, and wellness, right? I said I move my body every day, right? So important, right? No one was ever on their deathbed wishing they had more money, right? And then lastly, the money, the stewardship. Most divorces happen because of money. Most people, create conflict and have stress in their life because of money. So you do need to understand it. While money can't buy happiness, it can buy a lot of stuff, right? So you do need to understand it, right? And so the balance between those three areas, mind, body, money, it's a follow doc, chronicles my journey as a businessman, as a father, right? As a yogi, as a mover, and that of the people that I interview. Every episode has some athlete, entertainer, celebrity in it, all the way down to your everyday man and woman. And as we all are in this journey, just trying to become the best versions of ourselves. So the app is a further extension of that, where I have videos on mindset, body, money, affirmation tools, and the like, to give people these tools to again become the best versions of themselves.
That's awesome. I bet that's a ton of work.
Yeah, I think a lot more work than I ever anticipated too. I'll tell you that, right? It's been a challenge, but I think so rewarding, right? I believe our position on this earth is to be here to be a blessing and to lift other people, right? And so for me, it's not about money, it's not about title, it's not about possession, right? For me, the things that I'll achieve in my life, the possession I will garner in my life, will come as a byproduct of me helping people, right? And by me helping people and sharing and giving this mission and that being my life's mission, rather, I think I'll do just fine. I'll be fine.
I love that, Eszylfie. Well, thank you so much. We had Eszylfie Taylor on here. You can follow him on Instagram at Eszylfie Taylor, and then check out mindbodymoney.com to learn more about the reality show that's releasing later this year. Eszylfie, thank you so much for coming on the Daily Ledger podcast. I really, really appreciate your time and the effort that you put in. Learned a lot, and you helped me. I know you're going to help others that listen. So thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Man, I appreciate you for having me, man, and kudos to you for what you're doing and sharing. So thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, dude. We're good.
All right, brother.
Thank you for persisting.
Yeah, man. My apologies with the technical difficulties as I'm out here. I think what happened is I ended up finding this little spot in this cafe. I think my phone literally just overheated. I think that's what happened. So So good thing I have two phones. So I went to the other phone.
Awesome.
And it worked out. So my apologies again, but appreciate you for having me.
No worries. Of course. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Look forward to working with you, and I'll get Logan and the guys to follow up with you here next week or so, if that's okay.
Sounds good.
All right, cool. Thanks, man.
Thanks, bro.
See you.
All right. Thanks, bro.
Bye.